What is going on, YouTube? This is Jinsei64 here, and I've got a little bit of a new thing for me, an edited video of my tournament matches from EVO 2025. Now, for those who don't know what EVO is a tournament that is held yearly in Las Vegas, typically near like the last weekend of August, near last weekend of July. This year it was August 1st through the 3rd, and I have had the honor and the privilege to represent the good state of Montana for a third year in a row. And what you're about to watch is my round one pools. This is also kind of a first for me. I never streamed these, and it was suggested by a friend to go ahead and do the stream matches. It was a very, very impromptu stream. So what you are about to watch is going to be an edited, basically highlights, an edited video of my matches. Unfortunately, we're not going to show the audio for it. It's very crunchy, very loud. Next year, if the cards fall down and I do this again, I'll have proper audio equipment this time, and at least enough for a mobile device, and be able to do this again. But yeah, we're gonna take a look at those matches, give you whatever a quick analysis, what was going through my head during those matches, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. So match one was against a Marissa player who was fairly new to the game, from what he had told me with the conversations that I had with the gentleman. He was very pumped. First Evo, it's always fun regardless of what your skill level is. He went by King Steve. Nice man. He was a very, very, very polite person. When it comes to this match, personally, going into this, I wasn't very concerned. I felt very comfortable in the Marissa match. In this case, especially with him being such a, admittedly a new player, so there's definitely no like worry here at any point for me personally. Inexperienced players, they tend to play a certain one-note way. No disrespect to Steve, but a lot of stuff that's done on, punishable on block, a lot of buttons being hit. So really, this just kind of came as a little bit of a warm up here for me, or at least additional warm up. I've already done some warming up before here. There definitely is a lot of stuff that needs to be still kept in check, regardless of what player skill level is. Sometimes the unpredictability of people can be a big factor. So I did decide to kind of take my time a little bit. And apologies for the quality though. The matches were streamed from my mobile phone very locally here. Like right there, I kind of just did a little bit of I messed up a tad there on my run. Didn't stop it in time. But yeah, it's just about trying to just being careful, playing your cards right, play normal with Marissa staying out of a certain range that she would be comfortable in. Like I hit with the wake up level 1 there. Should have respected that a little bit more. Yeah, easy, and kind of just keeping him in the corner, keeping it nice and simple, nice and easy. Right there, that's gonna take it. We'll wake up level 1 panic there for Steve, and that gives us game 1. Now game 2, this is where kind of things get a little bit more interesting. This is a player by the name of Hey Taxi. He was actually not projected to win his first match, went by Start GG, but that's kind of the fun part. With tournaments, the unpredictability, you're not going to see, you can always just see like what the website's the brackets are going to think of who is or who isn't going to lose based on previous performances. And Hey Taxi, I did watch a little bit of his videos. I kind of got cooked there in the first round. I saw that he had been playing a lot of Elena. Elena is definitely one of the more recent characters from this point in time. I'm very, very unfamiliar with what she can do, what she can't do. So there's definitely a lot of on the fly learning here. I go for level 2 there for the burnout. So for me, this match is a lot of unfamiliarity. He does take game 1 pretty handily. You know, it does the definitely does look faster than the match actually was. But there's a lot of taking time, a lot of picking spots here. Leno wants to kind of keep the distance, go for whiff punishing, which Taxi was doing fairly well here. A lot of the unfamiliarity for me in this match, what ranges I should be at, what ranges I should stay at, were definitely noticeable. Luckily, Ken can do his Ken things and still be pretty handy to go taking round one right there. He did go for a lot of slides at some point. Another good perfect parry there. Trying to predict fireballs on round starts, but around here I found my groove. I just kind of staying in his face, being relentless, and reversing it, taking the second game of the set. More or less the same here for game 3. I think we both kind of like slowed it down a little bit, just trying to pick our chances on what we do and don't want to do. A lot of baiting, good, you know, shimmying there on each of our ends. We're getting our parries baited out, getting our throws in. Yeah, right there, waking up, you know, getting a wake up DP. Fortunately cost him the round there, but yeah, going in the mindset on this one was just, for me personally, it's just going through like what I need, where is this character on paper not comfortable playing? Where is on Taxi's own end as a player? What are his habits? Where does he like to play? What does he like to do? There's a lot of factors in that one, because you can definitely go into a game and, you know, see, you know, a character against this character. I almost brought it back there. I was actually kind of surprised that it was not ending it there. This one I just kind of decided to go all in. Yeah, it's, you know, character is one thing, but you definitely have to take into consideration what your opponent's does. Are they really buttonsy? Do they go for a lot of throw techs like he did there? Unfortunately, it did cost him the game. Gave us our second win. Now, match 3. This one was against a gentleman by the name of OK Willis. This one is a perfect example of the bracket just not always being correct. If we go by projected path, I was supposed to go up against someone else, but I don't think that guy, it was supposed to be some like Grandmaster Geef in terms of his rank that was supposed to go against. I don't think they ever showed it for the pool. So this Marissa was definitely much more experienced than Steve on the first game. You know, apologies for a lot of the angles here. My buddy Artfellow, shout out to Artfellow, was, you know, just trying to stand in the most comfortable spot he could. But Willis stayed a lot in the range where Marissa wants to be. Now, my experience with the Marissa matchup was because of my buddy Toto, who was in Marissa main here in Montana. Recently moved to Jamie, but Marissa definitely has a range where she wants to be comfy in. This character does crazy good burst damage. I tend to be very comfortable in this matchup personally, but Willis just played it really well. He stayed in the range where Marissa wants to be in, the range where a lot of her stuff is a little bit more unreliable. She's a very heavy target combo character. Most of her special moves, like her lights, don't really combo into anything. But yeah, he just kind of stayed in a range where Marissa just does well. Like I was out of a comfort zone here. My parries weren't on point. I'm usually pretty confident in this matchup personally. A lot of the medium, a lot of the target combos that and in a Gladius, I'm pretty consistent on getting my parries in there. A lot of these setups, I'm ready for him, but just Willis kind of took it very slow. I got hit with a lot of stances. So there's definitely a lot I can clean up on my gameplay here. Unfortunately, this was the first loss for me. Now, next match in the loser side of the bracket was up against another Ken by the name of Tommy 6 FCB. We'll just call him Tommy. He played very solid. This one, the Ken mirror is very odd. It's either very volatile on both. Like, you can kind of see like a lot of the stuff that is being done is pretty similar. A lot of block strings, a lot of drive rushes, a lot of Jin rise. But yeah, this one was very fun match to do. Tommy played well. You know, there's definitely solid stuff alongside the usual Ken shenanigans. This one was a fun match, especially when you have like, you know, groups of friends that are just cheering you on. Yeah, hyping your boys up. Yeah, nothing really crazy there. I mean, we kind of both did our thing. Kind of look at the camera there. I was thinking about switching to like Bison for this one, but just stuck it with the mirror. We're going game 2 here. Like that, the range that we're kind of just sitting there throwing like roundhouses, light punches, and checking and stuff like that. It's kind of like what Ken wants to be. Go for some cheeky heavy Dragon Lash stuff there. Go for the punish, and I dropped it. So it's definitely maybe a little bit of turning nerves, possibly. Not going on here yet. Just a lot of patience. Not a lot of going in. Not a lot of being aggressive. Just picking chances when we can. Going for those whiff punishes. Another wake up EXTP there by Tommy. Has him in the corner. He was like really solid in getting like his hit confirm, staying calm into the moment, in the pressure. There definitely are some moments. I got away with like a lot of jumps on this guy, especially during burnout. I think what shout out to the boys right there. I think what I would like to say, and he took his headset off here by the way too, so I think he wanted to hear like the crowd and stuff. What I would say, what I personally like myself as a player in terms of what I like to do, and it happened a little bit earlier there too, is I just tend to walk forward. I think a lot of the times when it comes to this game, there's a lot of Street Fighter 6 can be very whiff punish heavy. So like, you know, punishing a start, you know, the recovery frames of a move. Yeah, he did Tatsu there. I don't know if that was intentional or not. But I tend to walk forward a lot, intentionally, just to kind of, it not only do sometimes some people just don't like really see it. I don't want to say it's like a crazy surprise tactic, but it's definitely something people don't expect. Got hit with the meaty overhead there. Oh, bait out the drive reversal too. Got a good punish on that one. Both going for throws. Old man DI. Final game, final round. Yeah, see, a lot of it kind of looks very similar because Ken's game plan is pretty standard across the board at this point. Okay, here, you see right there, just walking out of the corner. Sometimes, you know, some people say you want to jump out or do anything, but yeah, that was kind of a handily. He had me on the ropes. I was a little worried. Man, match 5. All right, spoilers on this one. This is where it ends. This is a guy named Ursus Major. Very solid JP. Very different style of JP that I'm used to. Personally, my you know, it looks very well right here for this game, but it just feels like it just starts to it slowly comes out of the seams. He was a very, very patient JP player. I normally am used to such hyper aggressive JP in my area. Shout out to Elephant Bones. Very, very solid JP on my part, but Ursus played very patiently. He picked his spots. He picked his opportunities. He didn't leave too much on the table. His anti-airs were solid. He didn't really do a lot of zoning like JP would normally do. Just a lot of patience. A lot of the setups. He just like would not play the zoning fireball game that JPs normally do. It really is just a very, very different style of JP that I'm accustomed to, personally. Solid punishes, very, 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 very nice patience. There's like so little to really like compliment on this guy for that I haven't already given him. Yeah, it's a very, very odd match normally. My buddy Elephant Bones thinks that JP loses the Ken match. I think it's just very weird because you have to play it at his pace, and it depends on the JP. Some of them, if they're like hyper aggressive with the zoning, he definitely was very good at checking drive rushes, getting his punishes in with portals, and just had everything down to like a T. The best punishes you could do with JP. the best everything. Just knowing what ranges to stay out of, what ranges he was most comfortable in. Um, yeah, he was a very solid player, and I hope to run into him sometime. Uh, it was a very nice style of JP that I played, which was super solid. Uh, but yeah, I mean that was game 2, so now we were at 1-1. More or less the same kind of here with this one. He definitely did decide to hang back a little more. I think I was just getting a little too hungry to finish this as soon as I could. Move on to day 2. I might have gotten the best of me here. Usually something. There's definitely some mistakes in here. I might, another time I'll probably go into it, but there's definitely a lot of mistakes here. How I felt here. I was getting a little nervous here just because this was the elimination round for both of us. So there's definitely a lot on the line. And fun fact with this one too, like he had a crowd behind him as well, and I also had like the Montana boys behind me. So it was definitely like a very fun back and forth of cheering. Elephant Bones put it as like it felt like a mini crew battle. And right there, that was the end there. Very good, very good fireball reaction on his part. He played that super solid. Shout outs to Ursus, and unfortunately that is where my run ends. Hey, what's going on? Hope you enjoyed that video. Future Jinsei here from the intro. It's about a day or so later and much later in the dark. Outside. I'm a little tired, so forgive me for sounding a bit drowsy. Yeah, but that was the run. Fortunately, top 800 this year. Definitely a very lower standard than I wanted it to be. Last year I was at top 200 personally, like 190 something, so just shy of it. So it's definitely a fun goal. But that's Evo 2025 is in the books. That's my third year in a row. The other 2 previous years are here. I mean, I've gone to Capcom Cup 2019 for the last chance qualifier, so it's always such a joy to go to these, especially when you get to go with your friends to these tournaments, especially whoever, all the people that came to that showed up from Montana. Evo is definitely always a learning experience here. Like one of the most obvious things that you can learn from something like this is that you want to get out on your own or something like that. You want to test your mettle. This definitely, you will always learn something at Evo. You're always going to see someone that you might look at the same character that they play, but they might do something a bit differently than you do. Or even people that are just new that just want to get their feet wet. And it's just Evo happens to be the first one that they go to because it's definitely, by this point in time, it's one of the biggest fighting game names that you can hear. It's in Las Vegas, and West Coast usually always has a really good fighting game scene, and it's just there's just so much. Those players learn, you learn from the players that are above you, and then they learn from ones that are above them, and they're just in this like separate echelon. So it's definitely something you can always learn from. My experience for Evo this year is just, I didn't put down as much effort as I would have wanted to be personal, on this one, just working and busy with the kid. The youngest kid at the most is usually always keeping us on our toes. We're doing a lot of stuff with her, so my practice isn't as frequent as it was before. So I'm definitely not disappointed with my play, despite the circumstances of not making that a round 1 this year. I did have the very fun thing of carpooling with 3 of my buddies here that have never been to Evo before. It was their first Evos. Returning people flying in, and it's just it was such a joy. My experience is just it's always a great time. Artist Alley, the huge retro arcade that they have, all the merch booths. I mean, I bought a leverless controller at the Ranger store. I bought some new buttons for like one of the sticks that I own, and it's just specifically this bad boy right here. And it's just always such a great time. I just wanted to also give a shout out to the Montana community. Everybody's always been so awesome, and I'm very glad that some of the new blood that's come up has taken a lot to this community as well. Shout outs to our fella, shout outs to Zelam, Zadamataz, Joshua Tree, One True Chang, who that guy's, I've known Chang for a long, for a long time. Like, that guy commentates our monthlies. Toku guy, Marty. Like, it's just, he's never been to Evo, and this year was his first Evo, even though he's been competing in Street Fighter longer than I have. He was the one, like, that would easily point to somebody and go, like, oh, there's blah blah blah. I remember seeing him in, like, Akihabara Station or some arcade in Japan when he lived in Japan. It's just like, it's just these different experiences that happen. Elephant Bones. Shout outs to him. One of my favorite JPs to go against. One of the best players in the scene. Longtime rival for him. Him going again was always so great. And it's just Fit Ginge, man. Fellow FGC dad went as well. Some of Elephant Bones' crew also went. Wander, one of my NRS like rivals and dearest friends as well, were there. Seeing Calling You, seeing Legend. Once again, John Cario. There's just so many people to like shout out that I've seen some people that didn't make it this year. Like Jensen. Jiff. I see you, buddy. I wish you were there this year. Pizza Killer or White Privilege, I guess, as his recent tag is. I'm a little upset he wasn't here. Sea Salt. Some people couldn't make it. Toto. But hey, who knows? Maybe these old Montana men will show up if Ultra Street Fighter 4 drops. But that'll do it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it there. Evo is always such a wonderful experience. If you've never been, please do at least one time. There are definitely other majors out there that a lot of people will also tell you to do over Evolution. But Evo is definitely one of those things that you do have to do at least once. There's definitely, we got more Evo as a brand tournaments coming up. We got Evo France, Evo Singapore is coming up. Or Evo France is coming up, and Evo Singapore is going to be a thing. We got the dates for Evo next year as well. So it's the train's rolling. We definitely do have some other changes with like CEO being after Evo. Combo Breaker's usually always before Evo. There's so many majors out there, guys. There's so much stuff, and it's always streamed. So there's definitely a lot of good Street Fighter out there. Not even just Street Fighter. There's so much good Tekken. There's good Tekken despite the fact how people feel about the game. Guilty Gear's still going strong. And there's just so much to watch. But anyways, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch my first video that is edited. I definitely had a lot of fun doing this. Shout outs to my editor that is helping me with this one. She got me really pumped because it was her idea for me to stream Evo this year, so she can specifically watch the matches because she knows how much of a passion I usually have for this thing. So thank you very much for convincing me on that one. And I hope to continue to work with you in the future for more of these videos. But until then, if you liked it, like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. Click that bell for the notifications if you really want to get the notifications from me. I am going to be consistently streaming every Wednesday and Friday from 6 p.m. Mountain Time to 8 p.m. Mountain Time. It is a very weird schedule for now, but bear with me. I want to kind of get my bearings and get back into the whole streaming thing. Until then, guys, this is Jinsei. Thank you so much for watching, and you guys take care.